Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hopefully you're all healthy and staying at home. My name is Mario.
It's me, Mario!
And this video is gonna be about how to stay positive and as productive as possible while working from home. Stay tuned to find out more. Bystra battery! Before starting off, I just want to say thank you to everybody that have been incredibly supportive so far, and make sure to subscribe because I can see 87% of my views so far have been from people that are not subscribed. Make sure to hit the notification bell as well to receive new notifications when I post some new cool videos. Without further ado, I think it's time to get started. Today's video will be divided on 3 topics: healthy, happy, and productive. And at the end of the video, I'm going to provide you with some suggestions of what you might think purchasing to make sure that you're working as efficient as possible. And here comes the first part, healthy. As you know, humans are social creatures, and therefore communication is something that is really important. Making sure that you communicate on a day-to-day basis with someone is very crucial, because you want to make sure that your mental strength is at the same level as your physical strength, because at the end of the day, health is all that matters. Of course, when your mental and physical strength are at the same level, and that is as high as possible, that means that your immune system will be crushing it as well. When your mental and physical health are at their peak, you're gonna see that your immune system will become much stronger as well. Of course, with the current circumstances of the virus, it's gonna be very hard for you to communicate with friends, family, and colleagues in face-to-face. But you should not forget what you have built so far as a routine and a connection between you and those people. A breakdown in your routine alongside with the connections that you built so far, it's gonna actually cause some negative effect on your body and your mental strength. So you wanna, as much as possible, as previously mentioned, to keep in line with those routines. And what I mean by that is if you have a commute which is 20 or more minutes per day, when you're already used to it and you have that routine, you know, in the morning and late in the afternoon when you're coming back from work to do those kind of things, why don't you take that time off and start your day by spending X amount of time that you used to spend while going to work by actually starting to either listening to music or having a walk around your house or just doing something which is definitely gonna make your mood and set it to the right tone for the whole day. In other words, give yourself a commute. It doesn't need to be actually going to work. It can be something else that you really enjoy doing. It may be reading, it may be listening to music, maybe exercising, something to really kickstart that day for you. Another thing to consider is actually the work-life balance. Because at this point, if you're working from home, it's actually gonna get pretty mixed up. Try to separate work and life, and I mean this both by environment and at the same time, time. What I mean by that is that you want to make sure that you have a specific area, whether that's the kitchen, you have your own office or whatever it may be, that you're going to actually be consistent at going there for work. You don't want to work from your bed because that's the place that you want to relax, or at your couch. These are the places that you really want to keep for yourself at your personal space, and you're going to relax there. Another thing which is very crucial that will actually keep you to be as productive as possible and at the same time increase your health is to set those hours. You don't want to stay up working until 9, even 12 sometimes, just because you actually have the option of just picking up this laptop or the phone or wherever it may be and answer an email. You want to make sure that you have a precise hour, whether that's 9 to 6 or whatever it may be for you, so that you know when it's time to shut down the laptop and start becoming your true self, being at home, being with your pet, being with your family, and whatever is necessary for you to keep going with your life. Stay connected. Social interaction is actually very good not only for the brain, but also for the body. I would advise you to follow the 2-hour rule. And what that means is that if you haven't spoken with anybody for the past 2 hours, just make sure that you reach out to a colleague, whether that's a friend or it actually may be a family friend or a partner or just somebody that will actually give you the personal interaction that you need so that you feel satisfied and connected. Just to elaborate a bit more on what I mean to separate your work time with your life now, you need to take a break. You don't want to have too many phone calls at the same time. You don't want to have so many consecutive Zoom calls, WhatsApp calls, whatever it may be. You need to take some breaks. Those video calls can actually make you so exhausted at the end of the day, even though you've been home and you've had the time that you wanted and you've been probably with your family, you're gonna feel more exhausted than actually going to work. The next thing is check-ins. You want to make sure that you check in with your manager alongside with your colleagues or maybe actually friends, because at the end of the day we're all in the same situation here. You want to make sure that you're being empathetic as possible, and when you share your emotions so far and what you can see that based on your surroundings and how you've been working, people will actually start understanding more your current situation, and I'm sure they will actually have the same situations as you. So you just want to make sure that you're speaking as clear as possible to your friends and colleagues. You're constantly checking in with them, how are you guys feeling? It doesn't matter if you say it a few times already. The other thing that you should consider is the big talk and the small talk. Sometimes the small one is actually more valuable, and what I mean by that is that when you're working actually from home, you don't get to interact with your colleagues, partners, or whoever you are usually used to working with on a day-to-day basis, and you can't easily go and say, hey mate, how are you doing? You just want to make sure that the small talks that you were previously used to doing are just done over Teams or whatever kind of software that you're using to stay connected with your colleagues. Another thing which is very important for your health and of your colleagues is to share if you have a pet. Interacting with animals has proven so far to be very positive for the people that actually have them and all of the people that are surrounding those animals. And what I mean by that is that if you can share a picture of them or over the video call just show your dog or your cat or whatever animal that you have, it will definitely decrease the stress of both you and your colleagues, and at the same time it will make you much happier. Another thing that you should consider when it comes down to your health is how about learning something new that will actually increase your satisfaction and overall happiness. Challenge yourself to work on a new skill or actually improve on something that you've already achieved but you haven't yet had the time to actually take it to the next level. And trust me, this all actually helps not only the brain but at the same time the body as fresh as possible. And that brings me to the next point: happiness. Our happiness relies on ourselves, at the same time in our home, and of course the meaningful relationships we've built so far with friends, family, and whoever it may be around the world. Make sure you give yourself enough time to work, rest, and especially play. Our brains react positively when seeing another human being because interaction is all that actually matters to us at the end of the day. Our brains react positively when seeing the faces of others. That's something that you want to consider. You want to make a phone call if you can. You just want to, send some Snapchats. Just do something which will actually give you that face interaction with a person that is very dear to you. I would also call this on social media. Because, everybody on social media seems to be perfect, but you don't really get the real gesture of how they are and, who they are. Because of the way the technology has improved itself over the past decade or so, we can actually start speaking with people from all around the world, and that is a privilege. While you're having this conversation over Zoom with a colleague of yours, partner, or a client, whoever it may be, why don't you just start by asking, how are you today? And actually, where are you from all around the world? Because you may be speaking to some people that are in New Zealand at the moment, or maybe some people from Australia, there might be some people from the US, Europe, wherever it may be around the world. Another cool thing that you might want to also consider is that Zoom actually has this option that you can put a background of whatever image that you've downloaded throughout the Google Chrome search that you've had previously. Another good suggestion which I think would be very helpful to you and your team is to actually have those regular catch-ups over Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever actually software that you're using at the moment. And from time to time, make sure that you have this funny catch-up where you just don't speak about work. What the call was about, just to catch up on how people are doing, what they're currently experiencing, how are they spending time with family, is it better, is it worse, and just those kind of things. At the end of the day, we're all humans, so we need that interaction, as I previously mentioned. And during that catch-up, actually, we started speaking about different kind of things and topics like what is on Netflix now, and these are those conversations that you probably wouldn't have with your colleagues. Another thing which I think is crucial is to think green. Even short exposure to plants or trees or whatever it may be which is in the nature actually boosts our immune system and our happiness. So in other words, bring the outside inside, if you get what I mean. Why don't you get some plans for yourself what you want to look after? That will actually give you the time and the freedom and at the same time the happiness that you need while working from home. The next thing is get physical. Exercising actually increases our endorphins in the body and at the same time reduces stress, which ultimately leads to more happiness. With the current situation, I know that probably most gyms around the world are closed, but you still want to keep yourself as active as possible. Create your own home workout if you can. There's so many apps around the world where you can download from the App Store, whatever your software is, and you can see how other people are working out from home. It may be some professionals, it may be some celebrities, whatever it may be, and find something that fits your regime and your way of training. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below if you want me personally to create a video about how I'm working out from home. Another funny thing that you might also want to consider is actually when you're working out, why don't you work out with a partner or just a trainer over Zoom? Another thing is own your space. Take charge of your home and make sure you create those daily routines. Make small positive changes to your environment, even if you haven't done any so far, just to keep you in control, just to feel like you're at the right place and you can do whatever the you want. What I would suggest is actually tidying your house every morning. Maybe just start off with a bed. Maybe you want to make yourself this fantastic breakfast that you haven't had the chance to do while you're going to bed because your commute is 3 hours long. Another thing which is incredibly important when it comes down to happiness is to share it with others. You want to make sure that everybody around you, whether it's over Zoom or whatever it may be, are experiencing the same kind of emotions as you. Because if you're happy, wouldn't want everybody else to be happy as well? A good idea might be to set some time for yourself throughout the whole day where you can just think, how are you gonna make the life of your colleagues, clients, partners, maybe family, friends, or just friends much better than it is at the moment. And you can start out by having 15 minutes like brainstorming about it, wherever suits you best. Because at the end of the day, you want to make them happy, because if they're happy, you're happy. Those kind of ways just works both ways. And I'm sure at the end of the day, they will try to make your life a bit better as you are trying to make their life better. Another interesting factor that all men necessarily, and women, should consider is food. We all know that the way to a man's happiness
is through his food and stomach.
Take some time to think about the food that makes you happy, and what I mean by that is something that will remind you probably of your time in Italy when,
before it all got closed down.
But yes, we do actually associate some food with memories that we've had in the past. What I mean by that is that, for example, when I eat fettuccine, I'm gonna immediately think of my time in Italy a few years back, or if I eat,
Free your mind.
Baby, what was the name of the food that we ate in Thailand? Dragon fruit. Yeah, so what I mean is that if I eat dragon fruit, I'll definitely remember my amazing time in Thailand. Having said all of that, I think it's time for the third main division of this video, which is productive. Remote working, when you think about it, provides you with so much flexibility and the opportunity to dive really inside of the work that you have. But you just want to make sure that you have the right environment to do that. You can much easier go in that state of flow where actually your skills are at the same level as your challenges, so at the same time they meet and you're at this perfect point where you can concentrate 100% and do the task that you need to as efficient as possible. How do you actually get within that area of flow? You get in that area by firstly focusing on task by task. You don't want to multitask because you actually have the full time during this whole day. You want to make sure that when you focus on one task, you're gonna make sure to crush it, focus on it as much as possible, and the environment will not distract you. I know people do have kids, people do have pets. Just want to make sure that you have your own separate space, as I previously talked about, where you can focus, and that is not bad, I'm just saying that. You just want to make sure that you can focus and you can do everything else without any distractions. Another thing is something that I call virtual presenteeism. Of course, if you have a manager, you want to make sure that you're letting them know what you're going to work on, but that doesn't mean that throughout the full day you should let them know, I'm currently working on this or currently working on that. At the end of the day, if you are actually allowed to work from home, or if you're actually capable of working from home, you need to be able to trust your colleagues, your partners, and probably even your clients. You just want to make sure that everybody are trustful to each other and they start off on the right path. Trust me, people are going to be accountable for their actions. So if you're not working, your line manager, whoever it may be that is in charge, actually will very quickly see that. So just make sure that you're on top of things when needed, go into that workflow and try to decrease your distractions as much as possible. On that point, you want to start off the day by setting the expectations right. If you have a line manager, whoever it may be that is on top of you on the hierarchical system of your company, just make sure you're giving them an update on what you're gonna work on. And that includes deadlines, because the deadlines of what you were supposed to be doing, let's say for this week, may actually decrease or increase based on your workload. You wanna make sure that you're giving reasonable deadlines to your colleagues if you know that you're not gonna be available or they're not gonna be available to work on them for the next few days. In the office, if you see somebody that is actually having a big workload, you can see that and you can, gradually get that deadline just a bit further down the line. But unfortunately, when everybody are working from home, that won't be possible. So just have in mind that people have actually a lot of people and a lot of stakeholders to manage within the company. Another important thing to be focused on is engaging in those Zoom meetings. Don't be a muted ninja. You want to make sure that you're muted when you're not speaking, but make sure that you're speaking from time to time and not just being present in those meetings, just looking like. It may be that you're not as comfortable as you're used to, having those conversations over the phone or laptop, but you want to make sure that you're giving your best at being interactive as possible with your colleagues. Make sure that you build the opportunity for everybody who are going to be present on that call to have an input. Just remember, we're all in the same boat. Another crucial thing to bear in mind is that you should definitely 100% plan your day at the beginning of your day. Just make sure you have a plan. What are the main things that you're gonna focus during the day? And that actually fits a little about updating your line manager and your colleagues on what are you gonna be working throughout that day. So make sure that you make the plan just a few minutes before you're actually gonna have this call with your manager or your colleagues. Please bear in mind that we're all in the same boat and we're all experimenting. So there's no way for you to know all the answers or for me to know all the answers. That's what it's all about. We're all experimenting and we're all trying new things, and we all want to make sure that we're on the right path. Just another very important tip, which I think would be crucial for you and the rest of your team, is to have those meetings that I mentioned previously at the beginning of your day. That really sets up the tone when it comes down to your energy, happiness, or whatever, maybe efficiency and productiveness. You just want to make sure that you're starting off on the right track. Another thing is to never assume. Never assume that anybody is working on something. It wouldn't hurt if you're asking them whether they're working on it, and they will probably make sure to respond with a message. Nothing is over-communicated. It's rather under-communicated in most situations. So just make sure that you're keeping on track with everybody and what they're doing. And now it's time for me to give you some suggestions on the equipment that you may consider taking and purchasing off of Amazon. The first thing is a wireless USB keyboard. A lot of people are already used to those keyboards that they have on their laptops or computers when they're working from the office. So just make sure that you're purchasing something similar so that you can get used to the whole gesture of using the keyboard as you were used to. Because that actually can slow down your efficiency and proactiveness when it comes down to the work that you're doing. Another thing which is incredibly crucial is your mouse. You want to make sure that you have a mouse and you're not using the touchpad on your laptop or your computer, whatever it may be that you have at home, because you want to make sure 100% that you have the right equipment before even starting to work. Another interesting fact is that if you already have a monitor or you have your TV, you can actually connect it, if it's considerably new, you can connect it with an HDMI cable to your laptop. That gives you the option to have two screens. You can have a link down below of the monitors that I would recommend. They're 150 pounds or whatever your currency is. I would suggest that the monitor you take is not bigger than 23 inches. Another thing that you want to consider, it's not a necessity, is for your mouse, and that is the touchpad. If it's a bit uncomfortable for you to move around your mouse, this would be actually a very simple solution and it's considerably cheap. So make sure to actually click on the link down below in the description and purchase it if you need to. Some people may consider actually purchasing a camera because they don't feel like their laptop's camera is good enough, but I would hold on to that. I'm just gonna give you a link in the description, but there's no need, trust me. I'm sure people will be okay with seeing you from your camera on your laptop, even if not, it's not the best quality. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure making this video for you all. Make sure to leave a comment down below if you want to see something else. Also make sure to leave a like for the YouTube algorithm, and please hit that subscribe button, because as I mentioned previously, 80% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So thank you all so much again, and see ya up to the next one.